The Lost Highway. I was driving home from a late-night shift at work, the GPS leading me down a stretch of highway I had never taken before. The roads were deserted, and the only sound was the hum of my tires on the asphalt. As I drove, the landscape around me began to change. The trees grew taller and closer together, casting long, ominous shadows on the road. Suddenly, the GPS announced that I had reached my destination, but I looked around and saw nothing but trees and darkness. I pulled over to the side of the road, confusion and frustration building up inside me. As I sat there, I noticed that the clock on my dashboard was flashing. 3:33. A chill ran down my spine. Got out of the car to get a better look at my surroundings. The darkness seemed to swallow me whole. I walked around the car, but there was no sign of civilization anywhere. Panic started to set in. As I stood there, I heard a faint noise in the distance. It sounded like another car, but it was getting closer. I waited, expecting to see headlights appear around the bend. But instead, an old, rusty car came into view. It pulled up beside me, and the window rolled down. Woman with a kind face leaned out and asked if I was lost. I explained my situation, and she told me to get in. She said she knew these roads and could help me find my way home. I hesitated but decided to trust her. As we drove, the roads seemed to twist and turn in ways that didn't make sense. The woman didn't say much, but when she did, her voice was soothing. After what felt like hours, she dropped me off at the edge of town. I thanked her and watched as she drove away. When I turned to look at my own car, I saw something that made my blood run cold. On the back seat was a note that read, "You were never here." I spun around, but the woman and her car were gone. I got in my car and drove home, my mind racing with questions. When I got home, my family told me they hadn't seen me all night. Confused and scared, I realized that something strange had happened on that lost highway. I never found out what, but I never took that road again. The Dollmaker's Revenge. In a small rural town, there was a legend about a dollmaker who lived on the outskirts. He was known for creating the most exquisite dolls, with intricate details and lifelike features. However, the townspeople whispered about the dollmaker's obsession with perfection and his unsettling ability to make his dolls seem almost human. One stormy night, a young woman named Emily found herself driving through the town, seeking shelter from the torrential rain. As she navigated the deserted streets, she stumbled upon the dollmaker's shop. The sign above the door read, "Porcelain Angels," and the windows were filled with dolls that seemed to watch her every move. Despite her initial hesitation, Emily pushed open the creaky door and stepped inside. The shop was dimly lit, and the air was thick with the scent of paint and glue. The dollmaker, an old man with sunken eyes and a kind smile, greeted her warmly. As Emily browsed the shop, she noticed that each doll seemed to be staring at her with an unnerving intensity. The dollmaker noticed her fascination and offered to show her his latest creation. He led her to a room in the back, where a single doll sat on a pedestal. The doll was unlike any other. Its face was a perfect replica of Emily's. She felt a chill run down her spine as the dollmaker whispered, "I've been waiting for you." Suddenly the lights flickered, and the doll's eyes seemed to blink as the storm raged on outside. Emily tried to leave, but the dollmaker blocked her way. He revealed that he had been searching for the perfect model for his next masterpiece, and Emily's features were exactly what he needed. Horrified, Emily realized she was to become the dollmaker's next creation. In a desperate bid to escape, Emily grabbed a nearby candelabra and shattered it on the floor. setting the shop ablaze. As she ran out into the storm, she heard the doll maker's maniacal laughter and the sound of shattering porcelain. When the fire was extinguished, the townspeople found the doll maker's shop in ruins. But amidst the ashes they discovered a room filled with dolls, each one bearing a hauntingly lifelike face. And in the center of the room they found Emily's doll, her eyes frozen in a permanent scream. From that day on, the townspeople whispered about the doll maker's revenge and how his creations continued to watch over the town, waiting for their next victim. Some say on stormy nights, you can still hear the sound of shattering porcelain and the doll maker's laughter beckoning in his next model. The last memory. Dr. Rachel Kim stood at the edge of the abandoned asylum, the wind whipping her hair into a frenzy as she gazed out at the decaying structure. She had been a psychologist for over a decade, but nothing could have prepared her for the horrors she was about to uncover. The asylum had been shut down in the 1950s after a series of gruesome patient deaths and allegations of inhumane experimentation. Rachel's team had been tasked with exploring the facility and uncovering the truth behind the tragic events. As she stepped inside, a chill ran down her spine. The air was thick with the scent of rot and decay. She began to explore the rooms, her footsteps echoing off the walls. In one of the patient rooms, she found a journal belonging to a patient named E13. The entries were cryptic, but they spoke of a treatment that erased memories, leaving patients with a blank slate. Rachel's team discovered evidence of a machine that had been used to cleanse patients' minds. The further they dug, the more they realized the atrocities that had taken place within those walls. As Rachel read through the journal, she began to feel a strange connection to E13. The entries seemed to resonate with her, and she felt an overwhelming sense of dread. Suddenly, she stumbled upon a page with a single sentence. They took everything from me, but I remember. Rachel felt a cold sweat break out on her forehead. She realized that E13's memories might still be hidden somewhere in the asylum. As she searched the rooms, she started to experience strange visions, flashes of memories that weren't her own. The visions grew stronger, and Rachel began to piece together the truth. E13 was not just any patient. She was the daughter of one of the doctors who had been involved in the experiments. The treatment had erased her memories, but it hadn't taken away her pain. As Rachel reached the final page of the journal, she discovered a shocking revelation. I-13's memories had been implanted into her own mind. Rachel's entire life had been a lie. She was not who she thought she was. The lights flickered, and Rachel's world went dark. When she awoke, she was in a hospital bed, with no memory of who she was or how she got there. The doctor's words echoed in her mind. You're a new person now. A blank slate. Rachel's eyes widened as she realized the horrifying truth. She was E13, and her memories were gone. The last thing she remembered was a feeling of emptiness, as if her soul had been erased. The darkness closed in, and Rachel screamed, but her voice was silenced by the void within.